Good evening, friends. On behalf of the 250 Lex Commission, it is my privilege to welcome you to the 250 Lex Literary Celebration. Pardon me. An evening inspired by the written word, among other things. My name is Bo List. I will be your host for the evening. First of all, I would like to thank our friends here at the Kentucky Theater for opening their doors to us all. The Kentucky has been a steadfast friend to all of the arts, literary and otherwise, for generations. We are so lucky to call this glittering jewel our home for a few hours as we celebrate both our impressive literary tradition and the innovators who are designing and defining our future with their artistry and expressive powers. Before we begin, I am happy to introduce one of our community's most ardent supporters of the arts, our mayor. A devoted reader and, as she describes herself, a closet writer and poet, she has kept daily journals for decades, many of which detail her experiences living and working around the world as she traveled with her husband, Major General Charles Gorton. She served on the board of directors for the Carnegie Center of Literacy and Learning and currently serves on their Kentucky Writers Hall of Fame committee. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Linda Gorton. Again, Mayor Linda Gorton.
Thank you very much, Bo. Let me get this down a little. How's everybody doing? Well, it's great to see everyone here tonight, and I hope you are as excited as I am about celebrating our literary legacy tonight. As everyone by now is well aware, we are in our 4th month celebrating Lexington's 250th birthday. Yes, and this month we are focused on music and the written word. I am so excited about this month. I love music, and writing is particularly important to me. As a young student, I was introduced by an English teacher to journaling. Each day we had to write something in our journal. And I've continued this practice throughout my life because I loved it, including keeping journals during overseas travel with my husband while he was active duty in the Army. And then many years ago, when our children were young, I taught a creative writing class at Glendover Elementary School as a volunteer teacher. You know how that goes when you're a parent. It was so much fun working with students to engage their creativity in writing. We were lucky enough to have former Kentucky Poet Laureate George Ella Lyon come to the class one day. She demonstrated using a storyboard to bring the story and the illustrations together for the students. I still like creative writing, both prose and poetry. And you never know, someday you might find a mystery novel titled Murder in the Council Chamber. Sounds good, right? I always have a stack of books to read when I have a few extra minutes. And my passion for writing and reading led me to be part of the committee that formed the Kentucky Writers Hall of Fame. Literature and the written word have a rich history right here in Lexington. Once known as the Athens of the West, Lexington has long been a hub for writers of all types. And tonight, we get to hear the words of several of these great writers. I want to thank the team that has come together to create the Literary Lexington celebration, including my talented Director of Arts and Cultural Affairs, Heather Lyons, And leaders, yes. And leaders from the Lexington Public Library, Appalachian Poets, and Miller Downtown Arts Center, Institute 193, Team Powell, and the Carnegie Center. I also want to thank Dr. Eunice Beatty and Kip Cornett, who have championed this year-long celebration of Lexington's 250 years. They are co-chairs of our 250 Lex Commission. They have been working so hard for about a year, along with numerous commission members, ambassadors, and volunteers to make the 12 months of 2025 so memorable. The group continues to organize new events, enhance community events, and through cultural grants to organizations, focus on programs telling Lexington's past, its present, and its future. Again, we are so excited about all of the upcoming events for the rest of the year. And in April, we are eager to continue sharing the talents of our literary and written word artists. For a full list of things to do the rest of this year, visit 250lex.com. Now, let's enjoy a great night hearing the great written word artists. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. Tonight, you will experience the writing of some of Lexington's most essential contemporary voices. They are storytellers and lyricists, essayists and novelists, playwrights and poets, even actors and dancers. Together, they will offer a snapshot of what the written word is doing in our community every day and right now. The work represented tonight, though, is but a tip of the iceberg, as we could not conceivably craft a single evening from the work of all of our talented local writers. There are not enough hours in the day. Fortunately, we have a generous sampling from our literary community here tonight in our audience, and one can see their influence everywhere, in booksellers, in bookstores across the globe, on bestseller lists, on the radio, and on our television and movie screens and beyond. Without any further ado, it is my honor and privilege to introduce our first featured writer of the evening, Nikki Finney. It is absolutely appropriate to ooh and ah. She is the author of On Wings Made of Gauze, Rice, The World is Round, and Head Off and Split, which won the National Book Award for Poetry in 2011. Her new collection of poems, Love Child's Hotbed of Occasional Poetry, was released in 2020. For 21 years, she taught poetry and fiction at the University of Kentucky, and in 2013 became Professor Emeritus there, before returning to her home state of South Carolina. Finney is a Carolina Distinguished Professor at USC in Columbia, where she is also Director of the Ernest A. Finney Jr. Cultural Arts Center. You've already done a great job once, do it again. Please welcome Nikki Finney.
I wasn't supposed to come out when I came out, so I apologize for that. There's a 40-year road that leads back to the person who fills this poem. And I thought tonight would be a very appropriate moment to read it. I would not be here tonight if not for him. Brother of the back way. On the occasion of arriving in Kentucky and being guided to the back roads and along the old waterways by a native son, Gurney Norman. 1989. I would have gone to Kentucky, but I never would have stayed if not for the first 20 minutes of our visit. His poet hands lost in the twin minds of his pockets. "Real glad you're here," he said. "A searching man stands to welcome me. I'm still not sure I'm in the right place." My first day on the job, and stuffed in my new teacher box, a bundle of books tied like a fetish to the back of a bear. He knows the secret of a knot. Stories never heard before, spilling hill after hill of brown, yellowing pages. Family dramas soaked in turpentine and struck match. Scenes of still life, of owls, visions and signs, the African presence in the mountains, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, North Carolina, hundreds of bottled up years of American history. I thought I was up on my Black history, but I never knew we had lived so far up the mountain's winding roads. Never knew Africans had restrung their banjos way up the slip slide to keep themselves alive. He sent a map along with everything else. The Appalachian Mountains, red-marked, colored in by his steady hand. Gurney Norman was teaching me even before I'd met my first class. The human politics of Geography 101, how land is just a hole in the ground unless you have people to fill it all in. Whispering mouths opening and closing from every new bundle, article, book. I locate my birthplace near the mouth of the Atlantic Ocean. He has already circled it in blue, along with my grandparents' farm high up in the southern Carolinas. All of this has been arrowed and tied tight with beaver sinew, right around the Kentucky River Basin where my life has just landed. The heart lines now stretch from my lungs to the legs of mountains that are as fat as duck eggs. He's some kind of poet pioneer with an old prospector's understanding about what the land can teach us about ourselves. He's mining for a deeper vein, knowing if I listen, I'll come to see how the mountains connect like open hands across human divides. Cinched in the body of a grid, blue and red lines on the thin blackboard of a tree, resembling extra long human fingers stretching, holding on. I take the map to my new office wall. It yellows there in place for 26 years, becoming the prayer cloth my eyes hold on to every time I ask myself, what in the world am I still doing in Kentucky? Years of listening to Gurney talk about all the back ways of disappearing life meant it was time we hit the road. We leave the little city of perfect horse farms, headed to Highlander Center in North Carolina. We are the human book laid out flat within the mountain's view. Nothing is written on our pages yet. On our way to Boone, easily an afternoon drive by regular asphalt, but we go Gurney's back way instead. Avoiding every main road, it takes a week to go 20 country miles. Rambling along in his last-of-a-kind car that feels held together by the worn hooks and twine of fishing stories that clench us tight like a fist in a once-upon-a-time smooth hand. Nobody's mind ever reaches for the radio. Our hearts drop a gear and gladly leave the little city behind. There is no uncomfortable quiet to fill. We amble through the great thickets and creek beds, pedaling through history and dusty culture, places way off paved memory. I realize he's intent on turning us nouveau pseudo-intellectual pollinators into the honey itself. He is determined to slow us down, mindful to bring us in close to something he knows we are losing by the micro-minute. Gurney tells his long-legged stories. We listen and ask our questions when we can get a word in edgewise, and when we can't, nothing is lost. In the back seat, my head gets heavy with all the names we've lost to all the progress. Soon, my mind bobbles along the ridge of the worn leather seat. When I wake up, he is in the middle of another story with all new names. I lean into his endless commas and I am never lost. We are in a one-room motorhome schoolhouse, and Gurney knows each and every waterway on a first-name basis. Cane Run, Clark's Run, Hanging Rock, Redbird River, Wolf Run, waterways that people traveled down before any of the great four-laners came to be. He pauses for emphasis. This is the well-worn path, the one we followed to get when we needed to go. He talks about the swirls and circles of houses that grew up around the waterways, right where his old car stops to purr, then quickly idle strong. They no longer exist, at least not to our eyes. But Gurney's eyes still see every wavy window pane and smokestack. He keeps emptying and passing his cup. We sip slow on the way people used to be, the way they learned who they were to the world and to each other. Before the big city and the unforgiving concrete covered up all the foxholes and bear paths and piped in the artificial sound of progress for a new century's counterfeit comfort. I'm listening to Gurney, but my eyes are outside the window, gathered around a wilderness bend that has no eye end in sight. He laughs to himself, not really needing us anymore, remembering how people used to fight one day and get back to depending on each other the next. We needed each other more than we needed to stay mad, is what he says. From the small back seat, his words are a moving picture show of warmth and wonder. In my journal, I scribble along with the bumps in the road. Our memories are stronger than any paved parkway. We stop at a crossroads, and Gurney cuts the engine but never stops talking about the land or the people who bloomed out of tobacco fields and hickory forests. We stop to eat at a place he's been itching to get to since we left, a restaurant just off the main road where he's ordered country fried steak for 40 years. He pops out of the car like a kid headed straight for Christmas morning, nodding and waving at everybody like they just saw each other yesterday. I bless my food like I was taught to do and add a line of memory and grace for all the understanding the world has missed by not sitting down together and breaking bread. We are poets of Appalachia, and the Atlantic Ocean. We are careful not to stare, and the well-loved food readies us for the mountain air ahead. We reach Highlander Center before the owls begin calling to each other. Gurney disappears, scoots off like a gray fox released back to the wild. Cool wind and speckled rocks swallow him whole. His legs turn wild. His whiskers lasso a whirl beyond us. He evaporates as quick as a mountain cat's morning breath. He's more at home in these blue hills than anywhere. All the words he's been saying and the stories he's been telling can't compete with all that's in front and around us now in lush green surround sound. He's hauled us gently here to where we needed to be. Now it's time to crawl inside what we have been driving to in our mighty snail of a car. It's time to take the words in even closer and sip on the silence that is here, but disappearing fast. He wants us to do what he's been talking about all the way up the mountain. Us young folks who thought enough to name ourselves poets. He wants us to think about the world that was here before we got so smart and full of ourselves. The world about to be lost to our children. He wants us asking if there's anything we can do about it. Wants us to quit writing so much and put our soft hands and whiny shoulders to the starry wheel. We split up. I walk around the mountain to find my own view. My breath changes with every angle that my skin sees. The salt and cloud cover, the wildest blue wildflowers. It's too much beauty to handle in one flashing moment. We stand there on different sides of rock and rail like two hands of a clock until the last light moves all the way down the road without permission and the owls get friendlier with each other. Our tongues have lowered themselves down deep in a conch shell for the rest of the night. We are framed by the fog and the mountain, the shale and fossil of stories loosed and untongued. The high, high lonesome of the ivory bill still echoing through the choke cherry, even as we pray to one day hear his red and black wings once again. We are consumed with family, lost, flood stories, mosquitoes, the unopaque future, a trickle of salamanders moving through cracks in the shimmering limestone. We are wordless and lightning bolt alive, staring at a canopy of earth with ears that have heard Gurney promise it is all right to stare back into the eyes of the lapis lazuli night without protection. In this moment, everything that matters is in full view. There are no supporting actors waiting in the wings. Every greedy man-made thing dangling with a price tag has sunk into the darkness to be properly cleaned up by the starlight. We are 3 shivering specks in the shadow of the power of the land, loud, thumping heart witnesses to the truth of how we are wholly bound by the sweet back waterways of life. Finally, this is the old country song that pounds my heart into the hot, black iron of restless sleep. Gurney Norman.
Jeff Worley, Kentucky Poet Laureate from 2019 to 2020, has published 7 books of poetry and edited an anthology from University Press of Kentucky titled What Comes Down to Us, 25 Contemporary Kentucky Poets. His 1995 book, The Only Time There Is, won the Midlist Press First Book Competition. His third, Happy Hour at the Two Keys Tavern, was named 2006 Kentucky Book of the Year in Poetry and was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize. His latest book, The Poet Laureate of Aurora Avenue, Selected Poems, was published by Broadstone Books in Frankfurt and was also nominated for the Pulitzer Prize. Please welcome Jeff Worley.
Thanks. Whoa, could you turn that light up just a little bit? Well, I can't see anybody, but I can hear you out there, so that's a good sign. What a great place for an event like this. I thought what I would do this evening in my time is to read some lighter poems, given the, how can I say this kind of neutrally, the stress going on in our country right now. And so that's what I'll do. This first is titled, first of all, I should say, this little situation explores a father's least looked forward to talk that he ever has with his son. It's titled, On My 13th Birthday, My Mother Convinces My Father to Sit Down with Me and Discuss the Facts of Life. There's one reference in here you may not know. Bob Cousy, anybody? Take a bow, Bob. No, he isn't here. Boston Celtics basketball player. He was one of my heroes when I was growing up. Son, he said, in the half shadow of my bedroom, Bob Cousy taped to the wall and dribbling toward us, the early evening moon smiling crookedly through the window. I want to talk with you about life. You know, the birds and bees thing? You got any questions about that? Prickles of sweat broke out above his lip, and he made a steeple with his stubby fingers. I smoothed a palm over the hard raised nubs of the new Spalding basketball I just unwrapped. Not really, I said. Well, then he added, let's go shoot some hoops. I just imagine Dad going back to the dinner table and Mom saying, well, how did it go? And Dad saying, oh, it was fine. This poem is the title poem of this chapbook from Broadstone Books, titled Lucky Talk. And that was basically William Stafford's definition of poetry. Lucky talk. He said, I think poems are pieces of talk, savored and sustained. I would call them lucky talk. Yesterday at Kroger's, I heard a boy, maybe 6, say to his father, we have 2 eyes and 2 arms and 2 legs. Why don't we have 2 penises? I love language most when it slips up behind us like this, which is why, of course, poets sneak up their ears in cafes and bars. I've never done that with anybody, and I'm certainly not going to do it with you, I heard, unmoored from the context as I pretended to study the Pazzo's menu. And later that same lucky day, Jonathan's not a bad guy, really. He's just insufferable. My wife, always the dutiful daughter, brought her mother a bright Sunday bouquet. These flowers are so beautiful, she said, they look artificial. And my favorite, from Louis Polonia on ESPN, after being traded by New York. The Yankees are interested in only one thing, and I don't know what that is. So we'll move now from basketball to football for this thing. The title of this is Comment from Gordy Goldinger's Girlfriend After She Watched Him Try to Come In from the Deck during the Super Bowl and smash into a closed sliding glass door. Did you get that? Comment from Gordy. I thought only birds did that. Now, okay, some of you are sitting there going, that's not a poem. And that could be argued very, very well, but it is like a poem in that it's having fun with the possibilities of language. And I think that's the first thing that gets people interested in writing poetry is playing with language. Okay. This one is titled Turning 70. Oh, we're back at Kroger here, by the way. I'm only there about every other day, I think. Turning 70. The bagger at Kroger, wearing a fracture boot, asks if she can help me out with my 2 plastic bags. At the Chinese restaurant, in my cracked open fortune cookie, a blank slip of paper. I used to know the capital of South Dakota. 24 tiny red spots have suddenly appeared on my chest and stomach. Well, my doctor says helpfully, your records tell me you just had a major birthday. Connect the dots. he was always helpful in that way. Let's see. And one thing I tell students is that poems do not have to be necessarily complicated. And this is maybe a good example of that. It's a really small poem. It's called The Cats. Lucky for us, to realize they don't, lucky for us, they don't realize someday they'll die. If they did, my God, how much more they'd demand. I think we're hearing from some other cat people out there. And I guess sticking with the animal theme, I got an email a couple days ago. Somebody said, okay, you're going to be at this celebration at the Kentucky Theater and read some poems. And she said, would you read the one about you and your wife, Linda, chasing an armadillo around the living room? And I said, well, I would love to, but I haven't written that one yet. My fault. However, it was a possum. And this was probably Linda's favorite poem. And this illustrates one reason that I miss her as much as I do, because we just found fun wherever we could. This is titled Playing Possum. Something was gnawing at my dream, and awake now, I hear one of our cats loudly crunching at his bowl in the kitchen. But here in bed, I make out the shapes of all three cats, a triumvirate around my wife and me. I leap up through the question of, something wrong, honey? And stumble toward the mad chewing. I flick on the light. There, in the corner, pink as a piglet, a baby possum startles from the bowl of kitten caboodle. Crumbs flaking around its tiny gash of mouth. And here's Linda, fully awake now too, with not only a broom for her, but one for me. She flings me mine like Ricky Nelson tossing John Wayne his loop-handled carbine in Rio Bravo. And we're shutting doors behind us and opening doors to the outside world, which clearly terrifies this arboreal rodent who's little more than whiplash tail and provisional hiss. He scampers under the German shrunk. I take a couple swipes underneath and tease out a dust-covered catnip toy, a disposable Bic, and half of what looks to be a slice of Donato's pepperoni. The possum folds into itself like a fist. But Linda is choking up and waving her broom ready. So I thwack the thing broadside. It skids out like a top-ended puck to my wife, who swings. Her breasts lovely in the sudden light. Did I mention we're both bone naked? And I'm skating toward the wide open front door, this 2 a.m. game of possum broomball, almost fun now. And whoosh the critter so hard, it cartwheels like a cartoon possum through a racket of katydids and other night fiddlers, and lands like a wad of flubber on the lawn. As it scampers off, Linda and I stand on the front porch, victorious, holding our brooms in the manner of American Gothic. Our next-door neighbor, Jamie, home from the late shift, turns her blue Toyota into the drive, fixing us with headlights. These whirlies, she may be saying to herself, naked house cleaning at 2 a.m.? At which point, there's nothing left for us to do but wave. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Silas House, and I'm very sorry that I could not be there with you tonight. As you watch this, I am working on a project at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., in one of my last acts as Poet Laureate for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. It has been one of the honors of my life to serve as Poet Laureate under the administration of Governor Andy Beshear. In these last 2 years, I have met so many people, many of them incredibly proud of our rich literary heritage here in the Commonwealth, and some who never even knew before how important the literature of this place has been to the whole world. We are a state that has produced 3 of the most important international voices in writing. Barbara Kingsolver, a native of Nicholas County, has become one of the most beloved storytellers in the world. Wendell Berry of Henry County has transformed how people throughout the world think about the environment, farming, and daily acts of conscientiousness. Bell Hooks, originally from Hopkins County, was one of the chief architects of the feminist theory movement and one of our most important public intellectuals. But those are just 3 of our literary voices that I've tried to shine a light on during my tenure. There are many more. There is also a fierce new generation of poets, essayists, fiction writers, playwrights, and others who are expanding notions of what it means to be a Kentuckian in the contemporary world. And one of the best things about being Poet Laureate is that I've had the opportunity to meet so many young writers who are imaginative, empathetic, and original. And I know they are going to set the literary landscape on fire when their time comes. We truly have a wealth of voices here in Kentucky. Lexington has certainly been at the epicenter of that throughout our state's history. And I am very proud to now call myself not only an Appalachian writer, not only a Kentucky writer, but also a Lexington writer. That's why I'm really proud to be part of Lexington's celebration of 250 years. In that time, Lexington has consistently served as a vibrant center for the arts for writers like Gail Jones, Gurney Norman, Crystal Wilkinson, Walter Tevis, Frank X. Walker, David Arnold, Gwenda Bond, Nikki Finney, Ed McClanahan, George Ella Lyon, myself, and so many others, too many to list. I am thankful to Lexington for being a welcoming and safe haven for so many of us, filled with intelligent, complex, and erudite readers who support the literary arts. I know that defines all of you in the audience tonight, and I am grateful to you for being literary citizens who support the arts in a time when we are increasingly underfunded and undervalued by those in power who would rather have uneducated subjects who are easier to control. Reading is an act of resistance. I'm especially happy to record this message to tell you about the staging of a scene from my new play that you are about to see. The play is called Our Confederate Cousin, and it's based on the true story of when Mary Todd Lincoln's sister, Emily Helm of Lexington, a sworn Confederate, went to live in the White House with her sister for 2 weeks after the death of her husband at the Battle of Chickamauga. The play centers around Mary and Emily, as well as 2 fictional Irish maids who have survived the famine in Ireland to come work in the White House, and Elizabeth Keckley, the real-life dressmaker for Mary Todd Lincoln, a self-made businesswoman and confidant of the First Lady. Most of Elizabeth Keckley's dialogue is taken directly from her own memoirs and letters. In this scene, Mary Todd Lincoln has orchestrated a meeting between her sister, Emily, and her friend, Elizabeth. The scene was directed by Bo List, and I'm so thankful to Bo for all the ways he keeps theater alive in our community. Starring in this scene is Lisa Woods as Emily Todd Helm and Naida Wigginton as Elizabeth Keckley. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this scene from Our Confederate Cousin.
I'm Elizabeth Keckley. Mary asked that we meet.
I'm her sister, Mrs. Hardin Helm. How do you do?
I am quite well, Mrs. Helm, and how do you do?
Very well, thank you, Mrs. Keckley.
Please, most people call me Lizzie, but your sister likes to call me Elizabeth. Feel free to do either, ma'am.
All right.
Would you like to go inside and talk?
Not particularly. Does the cold bother you?
For December, it's wonderful.
The sunshine is so warm, despite the cold air.
Yes, it refreshes me. So I'm happy to stay out and visit.
And how did you come to know my sister?
I was first known in Washington as the motif for several senators' wives. The wife of General McLean gave me a recommendation to Mrs. Lincoln. She was already interviewing 3 motto makers that day, but I was called in. She was very gracious. She said there was something about me that she liked right away, and I liked her as well. She told me that she could not afford to be extravagant, explaining they had just moved from the West and they were poor. I fit her the next day, and I met 2 of your sisters.
Oh, is that right?
That's right, ma'am. Mrs. Edwards and Mrs. Kellogg.
Elizabeth and Margaret.
Yes, they were very gracious.
They can be that way when they desire to be so. And do you know Mr. Lincoln as well?
Yes, we are good friends. The first time I dressed your sister, he came in, threw himself over the sofa, quoting poetry.
Poetry?
Yes, ma'am, poetry. He told me it was from Rabbie Burns. I will never forget the name of the poem, A Red, Red Rose.
Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June.
That's right. So you're a Burns fan as well, Mrs. Helm.
No, my late husband was. He and Mr. Lincoln had many things in common.
My condolences, Mrs. Helm. Your sister was distraught when she learned of his passing.
My sister must share everything with you.
I have no way of knowing, but I do believe we are good friends. We enjoy each other's company. And much like Mr. Lincoln and your late husband, we do have much in common.
You lost a child as well, she told me. I am sorry to hear it. Please.
Talk about that.
Do not on my account.
No, it's important that we talk about him too. He lives when I speak of him. His name was George. He was killed in Wilson Creek, Missouri, fighting for the Union. 6 months before Willie died. It was George's first battle. A sad blow to me, of course. Mrs. Lincoln wrote me a lovely letter. She learned in my bereavement she gave me golden words of comfort. So you see, my grief was fresh when Willie died. Did you know Willie, Mrs. Helm?
Hardly at all. It makes me sad to think on how little I knew him.
Willie was her favorite child. She doted on him. He was always with her. When I would go into her room, I would most always likely find little blue-eyed Willie reading from an open book or curled up in a chair with a piece of paper and pencil in hand. He had a decided literary taste. He was a studious boy. Tad and Willie were terribly sick for many days. Seems as Tad grew stronger, Willie grew weaker, and it grieved her heart to see him suffer so. The doctor said there was no cause for alarm. He lingered for a few days, and God took that little boy home. This house of joy turned into a house of mourning. I wish it could be remembered for the happy place it once was, but I do believe that a permanent shadow is cast on this White House now.
Were you here when he died?
No, I was worn out from watching. I was not in the room when he died, but they sent for me immediately. And I washed him. I dressed him. I laid him out on the bed. When Mr. Lincoln came in, his tall frame convulsed with emotions, but I stood at the foot of that bed. My eyes were filled with tears.
In one way, it is hard to imagine him so unnerved, but in another way, I have seen this tenderness in him.
I had never dreamed that rugged nature could be so moved. I shall never forget those solemn moments. Genius and greatness weeping over his child.
And my sister,
Her grief was inconsolable.
and not a one of her sisters here to comfort her. Oh, I do have so many regrets.
I've spoken out of these things to make you feel guilty, Mrs. Helm.
No, you were only doing what I pressed you to do. Thank you for sharing all of that with me. But I must say, I fear you have been told terrible things of me, of the Todd family. I hope you will not judge those you do not know too harshly.
It is not in my nature to do so.
I can hardly see how you could help but to look down on us. I know Mary often speaks of us in ill ways.
Your sister is more loyal than you give her credit for.
That sounds as if you are chiding me.
And how dare a black woman do that?
Why was my sister so insistent that we meet?
I have no idea.
Yes, you do.
I assume because she would like for her sister to know her friend.
I think it was to make me feel small.
And with all due respect, you are much too hard on your sister.
How dare you?
Pardon me?
Did you know that I came here a begging woman? I had to journey here to seek the president's permission to return to my own home in Kentucky. I was with my husband's corpse in Georgia, and the only way they would let me cross the lines was to swear an oath of allegiance to the country that had just killed my husband.
And that does not sound like the fault of your sister.
And then you come in here and act superior to me.
You claim I act superior because I refuse to act as your inferior? I bought my freedom years ago, madam, and I owned my dignity and my integrity before that. Even when I was beaten with belts, the back of hands, and chairs broken over my back, I owned my integrity, and I will not let you discount that. I think you cannot stand to be in the presence of a black woman who does not shrink to your shadow.
How dare you put thoughts in my mind and words in my mouth?
I will dare. I will have my say. You have no power over me here.
I am the sister-in-law of the president.
You are a Confederate cousin. And a simpering fool you think your sister is. She has more confidence than all of us put together. And it offends me that you would so underestimate her.
Who do you think you are to tell me what to think of my own sister?
I am someone who has been there for her when you have not.
You are the most treacherous, most uppity.
Say it. Go on. It's written all over your face. You may as well say it.
You may have my sister fooled, but I can see right through you.
And see what?
That you are nothing but power hungry.
God forbid that one woman befriend another simply for the sake of friendship. Your kind knows little, knows nothing of the meaning of loyalty, not to your country, much less your family.
I will speak to the president about the way you have talked to me this afternoon.
I have fought off worse than the likes of you or the president. Do remember that I have been there for them in their darkest hours, where you were a part of the team that made the insurrection for this nation.
Holding on to one's own rights can hardly be considered an insurrection.
The Confederacy only wants to hold on to the rights to keep others in bondage. I have tried to be polite to you because you are the sister of my friend, but I will not be silent in the face of ignorance.
Oh, you will not speak to me.
But you do not understand me, madam. Anyone who supports the bondage of others is not fit for politeness. You are not fit to shine your sister's shoes or mine.
Danny Quintos is a Kentuckian educator and Afro-Latin poet. She is the author of the poetry collection Two Brown Dots, winner of the A. Poulin Jr. Prize, and Python, an ekphrastic chapbook featuring photography by her sister, Shelley Quintos. She received her BA from the Evergreen State College and her MFA in poetry from Indiana University. Her work has appeared in Poetry Magazine, Cream City Review, Cincinnati Review, The Margins, Best New Poets 2015, Salon, and elsewhere. Quintos lives in Lexington with her child and farmer spouse and their little dog, too. Please welcome Danny Quintos.
Hello. All right. I'm going to read 3 of my most Kentucky poems. Okay, this first one is When Clothes Make You Cousins. Shout out to my play cousin, Kendra Northington. When clothes make you cousins. Kendra Northington was the new kid in 2nd grade, and we were fast friends, both at Crestwood Daycare after school, both in the Yellow Dots reading group with 3rd graders, which made us feel smarter and better. She transferred from Booker T, where almost everyone was black or brown, and she told me their library had a system with paddle placeholders, so when you took a book from the shelf, you knew where it went. Kendra had this jacket, acid-washed denim lined with fleece. I don't remember how we got there, but its label said it was made in the Philippines. This meant we were related, cousins. In big tennis courts on the playground, we played hot lava and laughed. We're cousins, we told our friends, the proof on a tag at the nape of her neck. Thank you. All right, so this next poem is maybe my most Lexington poem. This is Scary Spice. She was in my 4th grade class, shy and curly-headed, her face red with crying that first day, her mom steering her shoulders to the coat closet. Her seat was next to mine, our names laminated and taped down. I asked which Spice Girl she would be. I always wanted to be Ginger, but got bullied into being Scary since I was the only brown girl playing. At recess, she started telling stories about how much she was from Kentucky, unlike me. Great-great-grandparents, all buried in this town, and where were mine? My family was friends with Henry Clay, loud enough for everyone on the bus to hear after a field trip to the Ashland estate. We'd seen hair-sprayed raspberry pastries in the kitchen, set up to look like the Clays were on their way downstairs. The smokehouse, the slaves' quarters, the elaborate garden, a wall of hedges. My grandpa played on the UK basketball team coached by Adolph Rupp. She bragged in the car as we passed Rupp Arena. I didn't have brags like this, didn't even know my dad's name. All I knew that got passed down was from the summer we flew to the Philippines when I was 6. My Lola showed me how to kill a chicken with a hatchet, knocking the blade against its wound in slow taps, how we let the neck bleed into rice. Before I read my final poem, I'm just so flattered to be here and to share the stage with so many literary Lexington giants, teachers, mentors, people that I've admired for so long, and I'm just so thankful to be here, so thank you all. Okay, this last poem is a little bit more fun, a little more debauchery. This poem is called Ode to Country Dips, and I don't know how many of y'all know what a country dip is. Yeah, okay, Lexington. I said this at Clemson last week, and they were like, what is that? But they knew, they just didn't call it that. If you're unfamiliar, a country dip is when a group of people pile into a car with illicit materials and some music, and they go for a drive. This is my kid's favorite poem. He only kind of gets it, so. Ode to Country Dips. It starts with a Fat J and a playlist, a car full and all the windows down. Take a right on Military Pike, where the traffic lights and rules start to disappear. The roads narrow and undulate, and all our stomachs flip while we breathe smoke like teenage dragons who love Missy Elliott and peaches. Daryl drives 80 and the trees blur. Katie makes us stop and smell the country air, says, hear that? About cicadas whirring. We watch heat lightning clamor against clouds. We pass tobacco barns printed black and gray on color film. The horse fences are music staffs guiding us to a crescendo. There's a road called Frogtown Lane, and in the dark we swing a sharp left. The hedges grow around us until a clearing. The bodies of rusted old cars and school buses, the ghosts of girls once on dips before us, red-eyed and smoke-full and lungs blaring lyrics. We reverse to escape and find ourselves giddy with relief, and in the stories we come off braver and bolder than we appeared. Thank you.
George Ella Lyon is a poet, writer, teacher, musician, storyteller, and social activist with Appalachian roots and a global reach. She has published 10 poetry collections, 2 adult novels, 6 novels for young people, and 34 children's picture books, as well as numerous stories, songs, plays, scripts, and memoirs. Where I'm From, her 1993 poem about personal identity, has become a classroom classic and is used as a writing prompt by teachers around the world, including the one speaking to you right now. Lyon served as Kentucky Poet Laureate from 2015 to 2016 and is the recipient of the Jane Addams Honor Book Award, the Sybil's Award for Poetry, the Kentucky Bluegrass Award, the Golden Kite Award, and many, many more. Please welcome George Ella Lyon.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who made this celebration possible. I'm honored to be part of it and to be in such company, including yours, dear audience, because where would we be without you? The climate of the moment, the threat of another recklessness and greed-induced recession takes me back to the fall of 2008 when I wrote this poem. The meadow does not know about the stock market. Today she is worth exactly what she was worth yesterday, a year ago, at creation. I don't mean property value, taxable assets. I mean milkweed and copper moths, honeybees, cow vetch, king snakes. Meadow life is not money. What rises and falls here are stems and flowers, leaves and fruit. No zigzag line of profit and panic, but the great wheel turning. Here, God gives of her extravagance, and here, like flicker, viceroy, dragonfly, we come into our inheritance. But 17 years have passed since then. 17 years of fossil fuel burning, rainforest clear cutting, paved over meadows, plastic islands riding the oceans, and plastic lodged in our cells. So this poem, which sounds like a dream, but wasn't. I stand before the Pietà, looking only at the folds of the Virgin's robes, not ready to face, her slaughtered son. When I do lift my eyes, Mary's countenance has become Jane Goodall's, still burdened, still grieving. And when my sight falls to Jesus, I see not a man's body, but rivers, forests, deserts, mountains, flowing blue, gray, green, gold across her lap, the earth and all her creatures. Like the Savior's side, my heart is pierced. Jane Goodall says, it's still alive. Well, once you've invoked Mary, Eve is backstage. So here is a poem about her. And some of you might be too young to remember, but what's now called the lingerie department used to be called foundations. A lot to think about there. Eve works in foundations, bras, girdles, Merry Widows. She sells undies, 32A to 48D, cotton, nylon, rigid, racy. She sells what binds and defines, lifts and separates, squeezes in and pushes out. What makes a woman shape out of the soft swing and flow of female flesh? Makes cones out of curves, taut from loose, soft into hard. She buys here, too. Oh, Eve, stripped in the wavery light of the Ben Snyder dressing room. Remember when you walked ecstatic and naked in the garden? At home in the roll of you, round and luscious. How firm a foundation was that? And there's a song to go with her, with us. I wrote the words during the Kavanaugh hearings. And it's called We the Beautiful. Oh, beautiful, our body shapes, our ample ways of grace, our plump or bony majesty, our spirit's dwelling place, a miracle, God finds her face in thee, and crowns thy good with sisterhood from she to shining she. Thank you.
After our next performance, there will be a 15-minute intermission, during which we encourage you to patronize our hosts, the Kentucky Theater, by visiting their legendary concession stand. We also have the Midway-based bookstore, A Likely Story, in the lobby of the State Theater, selling some books from our featured writers this evening. We hope you will support independent booksellers and regional authors with the purchase of some of their works. But first, Tony Wavy. Also known as Hip Hop Picasso, Tony is a visual artist and hip hop vocalist. Raised in Monroe, Michigan, and nurtured in Charlotte, North Carolina, he now calls Lexington home. He is an award-winning performer whose expressive creations span visual art, poetry, and music. His artistry extends to his community through his Talk Love movement, which emphasizes putting love into everything you do. Please welcome Tony Wavy with Raiden Paris, Marcia Gill, Maya McCutcheon, George Shanks, and Keenan Helms.
Is this thing on? Hello, hello? 250 years of Lexington. Make some noise one more time, please. Thank you, Jesus, we got rid of the 250. But we have some great people. I brought some friends with me. I brought Raiden Paris with me for this first portion, as well as Maya. Make some noise for them, please. Raiden, what's going on? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good.
So, Lexington, we're full of gems, right? Full of treasures.
Yes.
You know, me not originally being from here, I'm always discovering something new. You, a native.
Of course.
I wanted to show you something that I found right there in that Shakespeare room. I don't know if it was behind the Kentucky. I need your help with this. Can you help me? Please, please.
What are you talking about?
It's this big old treasure chest. Hold up, let me see. Golly, hold up. Come on, bring this thing. Bring it to the middle. Bring it.
I got it.
Hold it down.
I got it.
Hold it. Okay.
Get to me.
Go around now. Okay, go around. I brought this big. Okay, we got it. I brought this big treasure chest. I want to see what's in it. Let's see.
This is crazy.
Okay.
We got some good stuff, y'all.
This says Big Blue, 1775. Is this Pope's hat?
What is that?
UK bag. I don't know if these are from 70-75, bro.
No, those definitely are not from 75.
Oh, yeah, these definitely from
I don't know
75.
about
Oh, wait, hold up. What is this? Cowboy hat? Oh, wait. I think I found a scroll. Not my hat. What does this say? What do y'all think it is? Letter? Wait, hold up.
Let me see this, Tony. Now, let's start from the top. Back to the Jim Beam distilleries and burgoo spots. This was 1775. Lexington, the horse capital of the world, has arrived.
From Kentucky horse parks to the Keeneland tracks, where hooves hit history and there's no looking back.
Fayette County, birthplace of Oliver Lewis, a black jockey with a dream, had to go out and prove it.
A land that birthed legends, Isaac Murphy galloping through barriers, Isaac Scott Hathaway molding clay into carriers, culture, and pride, Henry Clay debating with thunder in his stride, and yes, even George Clooney came from the bluegrass side.
Man, who would have thunk it? This is something even cholera couldn't stop. Town's finest rose to the top. Lou Johnson swinging from the major league frames. T.D. Young with that down-home blues flame.
Hold on, let me see. Once a part of Virginia, Lexington had to pave its own trail through dirt roads, tobacco smoke, and the hammering of iron and nail.
In 1844, the first city opened its doors. The schools, the seed and the soil of segregated wars. But those halls came voices, book in hand, and despite the choices, rising like the steam from a bourbon pot, learning to think, to fight, to plot.
See, Lexington, we're not just horses and farms and southern charm. This is black excellence. It's grit. It's ancestors that never quit. This is a letter written to you in bold to remind you that the young and even the old, Lexington with all its hardships and scars, still birth stars.
So we stand on limestone, legacying in our bones, crafting poems and building thrones from every block and cornerstone.
To 250 years of Lexington, home of the Big Blue, this is a letter written to you from me to you.
We gotta get out of here.
We gotta get out of here. Hurry.
Dude, come on.
Watch out. Let's go. Golly, don't drop it.
Don't hit the...
Welcome back to the 250 Lex Literary Celebration. And thank you to the one person who just clapped a little bit. Oh. I'm fishing for it, I guess. Next, we will experience the power of the written word when it is combined with the poetry of movement through dance. Choreographer Jenny Fitzpatrick I would have predicted that would have been a big applause line. She has been dedicated to the performing arts and young artist education in Lexington for 15 years. While owning and operating her own performance-based dance school, Blackbird Dance Theater, from 2014 to 2024, Jenny wrote and produced, I think we can give a round of applause to Blackbird Dance Theater, for its decade of outstanding service to Central Kentucky. From that time, Jenny wrote and produced numerous original dance theater works, mentored hundreds of young students, and nurtured creativity and inclusion in her community. While Blackbird Dance Theater has closed its doors, Jenny continues to make an impact in her community through performance-based work and collaborations. Which leads me to her collaborative partner, Ada Limon, the 24th Poet Laureate of the United States. She is the multiple award-winning author of 6 books of poetry, including The Carrying, which won the National Book Critics Circle Award. She was also awarded a MacArthur Genius Fellowship in 2023. At the time of her inauguration as Poet Laureate, she was a resident of Lexington and continues to split her time between California and Kentucky, and we are always glad to have her back. Please welcome the words of Ada Limon, brought to life in the human form by Blackbird Dance Theater.
Tell me what it is to be the thing rooted in shadow, to be the thing not touched by light. No, that's not it. To not even need the light. I envy that. Desire is a tricky thing, the boiling of the body's wants, more praise, more hands holding the knives away. I've been the one who has craved and craved until I could not see beyond my own greed. There's a whole nation of us. To forgive myself, I point to the earth as witness. To you, your frozen Niagara, your fat man's misery, you with your 400 miles of interlocking caves that lead only to more of you. Tell me what it is to be quiet and yet still breathing. Ruler of the underlying, let me speak to both the dead and the living as you do. Speak to the ruined earth, the stalactites, the eastern small-footed bat, to honor this, the length of days, to speak to the core that creates and swallows, to speak not always to what's shouting, but to what's underneath, asking for nothing. I am at the mouth of the cave. I am willing to crawl. My father told me the story of a woman larger than a mountain who crushed redwoods with her feet, who could swim a whole lake in 2 strokes. She ate human flesh and terrorized the people. I loved that story. She was bigger than any monster, or Bigfoot, or Loch Ness creature. A woman who was like weather, as enormous as a storm. He'd tell me how she walked through the woods, each tree coming down, branch to sawdust, leaf to skeleton, each mountain pulverized to dust. Then they set a trap, a hole so deep she could not climb out of it. I have known that trap. Then people set her on fire with torches, so she could not eat them anymore, could not steal their children or ruin their trees. I liked this part too, the fire. I imagined how it burned her mouth, her skin, and how she tried to stand but couldn't, how it almost felt good to her, as if something was finally meeting her desire with desire. The part I didn't like was the end. How each ash that flew up in the night became a mosquito. How she is still all around us in the dark, multiplied. I've worried my whole life that my father told me this because she is my anger. First comes this hunger, then abyss, then fire. And then a nearly invisible fly made of ash goes on and on, eating mouthful after mouthful of those I love. I am a hearth of spiders these days, a nest of trying. We keep forgetting about Antlia, Centaurus, Draco, Lacerta, Hydra, Lyra, Lynx. But mostly, we're forgetting we're dead stars too. Look, we are not unspectacular things. We've come this far, survived this much. What would happen if we decided to survive more, to love harder? What if we stood up with our synapses and flesh and said no, no to the rising tides? Stood for the many mute mouths of the sea, of the land? What would happen if we used our bodies to bargain for the safety of others, for Earth? If we declared a clean night, if we stopped being terrified, if we launched our demands into the sky, made ourselves so big people could point to us with the arrows they make in their minds, rolling their trash bins out after all of this is over.
Every community in Kentucky has talented writers, but few communities in the United States can claim a place that nurtures and promotes writers quite like the Carnegie Center for Literacy and Learning. Located inside Lexington's original downtown public library, the imposing building in the heart of Gratz Park measures and quickens the pulse of our literary community with a wide variety of programs and initiatives designed to carry the words of its authors as far as possible, while enriching writers, readers, and learners of every background, ability, and ambition. Please welcome the Carnegie Center's Executive Director, Jennifer Maddox.
The National Book Award, the Pulitzer Prize, National Book Critics Circle Award, the NAACP Image Award, the Duggins Prize. These are just a few national awards received by Lexington authors for their outstanding literary works. Why does Kentucky have so many talented writers? One reason is Lexington's top-notch writing programs, which impact thousands of people every year. In addition to the writers mentioned tonight, the University of Kentucky helped develop writers such as James Baker Hall and Bobby Ann Mason, and currently includes outstanding professors like Crystal Wilkinson and Dr. Damaris Hill. Among Transylvania University's writers and professors is Jeremy Payden, who writes in multiple languages. And then there's the Carnegie Center where I work, a community learning and literary arts center. I've seen emerging writers develop their craft from instructors like Marsha Thornton-Jones, co-author of the Bailey School Kids series, who sold over 49 million copies of her books. And award-winning writers like Letha Kendrick, whose classes always sell out, and too many others to name. The Carnegie Center is a haven for writers and a writing home for many, both published and unpublished. I'm the executive director of the Carnegie Center, but I'm also a writer. I found a writing community there, and my writing has dramatically improved through writing workshops and conferences. I also formed a writing group that currently includes published authors Sarah Combs and Cynthia Ellingson, and emerging writer Stephanie Parkin. We challenge each other to make our writing the best it could be, while also providing encouragement and support. At the Carnegie Center, I also learned how to pitch my novel to literary agents, the gatekeepers to the publishing industry, and eventually landed a literary agent. That novel that I toiled over draft after draft and through several rounds of revisions finally had a literary agent to champion it. I flew to New York for the day to meet with her and discuss final tweaks to my novel. Then once those were complete, she sent it out to a curated list of editors. And as often happens with first novels, my novel did not sell. But when the pandemic hit, my agent dropped a part-time and we amicably parted ways. Fast forward to 2025. I have a novel in the final rounds of revisions, and I will soon begin seeking new literary representation. Writing isn't easy, and it's a competitive market. To achieve the level of success our local authors have takes a dash of luck and a tremendous amount of skill and talent. I also know that while I may never receive national awards, the dream of having a novel published is not impossible. Writing is a journey. There are ups and downs, plot twists and anti-heroes, days when the writing flows and others when it doesn't. As we celebrate this literary month, I encourage you to consider the stories you have within you, and if you're driven, to write them down and put them on the page. Begin the journey. If you do, know that Lexington's supportive literary community will be there to cheer you on every step of the way. Thanks.
It is my great honor to serve on the board of the Carnegie Center for Literacy and Learning, and as such, in my official capacity, I would like to conduct an unofficial poll. And while I cannot see anything, if you would nonetheless, perhaps a round of applause, I can certainly hear, a round of applause for anyone who has participated in Carnegie Center programming of any sort. And I suspect an even bigger applause for anyone whose lives have been enriched by witnessing, participating, or otherwise attending Carnegie Center events or programming. So congratulations to Jennifer and to Neil Chethik, also in our audience, who have done tremendous lion's work of building the literary arts in our community. Frank X. Walker. A Danville, Kentucky native, Frank X. Walker is a multidisciplinary artist and educator and was in 2013 the first African American writer to be named Kentucky Poet Laureate. He is the author of the children's book A is for Afralacha. I want to get it absolutely right. The children's book A is for Afralacha, and 13 collections of poetry. His honors include, but are by no means limited, to a Lannan Literary Fellowship for Poetry, 2 Denny C. Plattner Awards for Outstanding Poetry, West Virginia Humanities Council's Appalachian Heritage Award, as well as fellowships and residencies with Cave Canem, the National Endowment for the Humanities, and the Kentucky Arts Council. And just last month, he was inducted on this stage into the Kentucky Writers Hall of Fame. He is the recipient of honorary doctorates from the University of Kentucky, Transylvania University, Spalding University, and Centre College. He serves as Professor of Creative Writing and African American and Africana Studies at the University of Kentucky. Please welcome Frank X. Walker.
Wow. Go Lexington. I don't quite feel 250 years old. I'm just going to read 3 poems. And understandably, they might reflect the times we live in. Or not. Mrs. Butterworth, Uncle Ben, and Aunt Jemima walk into a bar in America. Butterworth says, "I'm being repackaged." Ben says, "I'm being rebranded." Jemima says, "I remember when they branded my mama on her back." The bartender says, "I could stand in the middle of Main Street and kill somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters." Butterworth says, "Then I'll take 8 bullets in my sleep." Ben says, "Choke me to death with your knee." Jemima says, "Lock me in a holding cell and say I decided to hang myself." The bartender poured the drinks, said he felt threatened and was simply standing his ground when he thought the thug was reaching for a gun. The headline said, "Well-loved American foods resisted arrest, failed to comply, and were delicious while black." Butterworth's daughter said, "Here's the progress. We might finally get an anti-lynching bill." Ben's son said, "I'd rather they abolish qualified immunity." Jemima's kid said, "You know, they abolished slavery once, then they hung my mama on that box." You don't have to clap for that. This next one is called "The Faithful," and it has an epigraph that's by an anonymous voice that said, "He didn't say that, and if he did, he didn't mean that, and if he did, it's not a big deal, and if it is, others have said worse." Anonymous Trump loyalist. I can't say I understand, but I can say I've seen it. Almost blind loyalty to a man you believe in, one who praised your belief, who made you feel seen, a man who stared at your imperfections and convinced you that they were beauty marks, making it easier for you to look away, to be forgiving when you finally saw his. My mother believed once, for a long time, she refused to see any fault, to hear any criticism, to doubt a man until he finally crossed the line. Her God did not condone the exploitation of children, the violation of young boys. She was devout, so she prayed and she prayed. She refused to judge, and she prayed on it some more. Then she remembered she had little boys at home too. So now I don't question such belief, and I try not to judge, but I can't help but worry about where these new Christians have drawn the line. And I'll close with this poem called How to Teach a Child to Pray. Humiliate her mother at every checkpoint. Replace the second Surah with air raids and shelling. Reduce everything she knows to rubble again. Bury her younger brother under his school. Laugh when she raises her hands in front of her face and ask her God for peace. Surveil her dreams of clean water and fresh bread. Reduce everything she knows to rubble again. Direct her to ignore the smell of decaying bodies when bowing down to perform ruku. Strip search her grandparents in the street. Let her hold their shame. Expect her gratitude for being able to count on one hand cousins who only have one hand. Teach her to dread shelters and refugee camps instead of periods. Assume her capacity to forgive will be longer than her memory. Then dare her to stand up and repeat, Allahu Akbar. Thank you.
Eva Alcaraz-Monje is a Scapa Literary Arts senior at Lafayette High School. Eva is Lexington's 2025 Youth Poet Laureate. Eva is a 2025 Scholastics National American Voices winner and an alumnus of the Kentucky Governor's School for the Arts. A Miami native, Eva loves writing, especially horror, poetry, and journalism. While not at school or writing, you can find Eva by the creek near their house, hanging around downtown Lexington with friends, or lost in a Michael's. Please welcome Eva Alcaraz-Monje.
Hey everybody, y'all hear me okay? Okay, so this first poem I'm gonna read is called Appalachia is Contagious. Like I put in my bio, which I completely forgot I did. I'm from Miami. I've only been living in Lexington for about 3 years. When I first moved here, I really hated it. I really disliked Kentucky, but over these past 3 years, I've realized that Kentucky, the people and the culture kind of envelops you in a way that it's really unstoppable. And I really noticed that I was out mushroom hunting, which is a very Kentucky thing, with my girlfriend, and they told me, well, Appalachia is contagious. And that line just kept ringing in my head, so I had to write a poem about it. Appalachia is contagious. I've begun to light cigarettes at noon, watching the smoke bend across conifers that reek of corn syrup. I bless your heart to those I do not love because they know that I don't. My neck bears a cross that I don't believe in, tarnished iron with a simple remembrance of God and someone with him. I drink ale like honey nectar, sugar caking the gas station t-shirt I found on the rack for spare change. A knife is secured in my back pocket with a loose denim thread and an urge to flick it open like swings on a midnight playground. I drive on roads that don't want to be paved, bumping some heathen music alongside the cows and the horses and the buzzards. My soul aches for coleslaw and grits and potato salad because this is y'all, our family love, and I am tired of denying it. So this next one has a little bit of an introduction to it. I chose to read this piece here at the 250 Lex ceremony after I heard about Rumeysa Öztürk, a Turkish PhD student at Tufts University. If you are unaware, she was detained by ICE officials in the middle of the street. Although she has a valid F1 visa, she's in danger of deportation due to her speaking out about the genocide in Palestine. And when I saw the news headlines, I couldn't help but think about the history that has been passed down to me. During the Argentinian dictatorship most of my parents grew up in, people were taken from the street and disappeared for speaking out against the government. There was a common phrase in those days, el silencio es salud, silence is safety. In times like these, we are all scared. All we wish for is safety. But sometimes our fear makes us forget the power we have to speak out. Don't let anyone take that from you. I know Lexington remembers to fight for what it believes in. America's best loved. Spill my worth in bloodied gold. I am a humble servant that bows to cherry red popsicles and grass green paper with men that don't look like my father. No one wins in this game, checkers, chess, poker, and Russian roulette. Teach me to pick my pawns and cock the gun in one fell swoop. How dare you think about peace while the backdrop of her golden locks waves with colors you won't fall for. I hope you are the beggar someday. I pray you kneel in shattered glass so that I may collect your Midas touch in my bottle. I will drink it like strawberry wine. I will lick my lips when I am done. Thank you.
Singer-songwriter DeBron Thomas is integral to the city's music scene as a musician, recording artist, and musical collaborator for Allegro Dance Project. For over a decade, he has served as a producer and on-air host for WUKY Radio. Out of curiosity, any members of our wonderful local public radio stations? Thomas devotes his time to social and racial justice, leading the Take Back Cheapside effort with fellow activist Russell Allen. Please welcome DeBron Thomas with Dave Ferris and Thomas Usher.
The most awkward part of things. What's happening? First of all, thank you all so much for being here to support the incredible legacy of literary writing and spoken word, music, and all of the arts that come out of Lexington. So give yourselves a round of applause. This always happens. I always get the mic stand that never works right. I was just complaining about that on the air the other day. All right. I think we're good to go. So we're celebrating Lexington's 250th anniversary, and I felt like it was a great opportunity to really. I promise I've done this before. I thought it was a good opportunity to really express my appreciation for all that I have received from this community. On bass is Thomas Usher. On drums, if you don't know, is Dave Ferris. And I would be remiss to mention Daniel Moeller and Smith Donaldson, who were part of the DeBron Thomas trio. Without them, I wouldn't be here standing in front of you. They saved my life on numerous occasions, as have both of them. So this, thank you. So I'm going to play two songs for you, and this song has a little bit of a longer history. It's from my very first album, and I wrote this song when I was on my way home after a Relic Delic gig, and I was at I flew from Lexington to San Francisco. We had a layover in the Denver airport. Has anyone here been in the Denver airport? Okay, so the rumor is that that's where the lizard people are underneath. There are apparently catacombs. But if you do go to the Denver airport, in gate A14, at least there was a Quiznos that had a bar in it. And I had just played a gig the night before, and I had some money in my pocket, and I went to the bar, which I should also say that I'm 10 years sober this year, too. So that's pretty rad. But I went to this bar, and I bought a beer, and I drank that beer. It was great. And then I went to pay for to get another one, and my card got declined. So I had just so happened to have some money in my pocket, and I went to the ATM to just check to see what was in my bank account. And it was negative 1 cent. So imagine yourself being in a place you don't know and you only have a negative 1 cent to your name. It was very awkward. So I started just thinking about the situation I was in, and these lyrics came to mind. And I will never forget, I was sitting, just scribbling them down, and there was this little girl who was looking at me just like, I hope wherever she is that she can hear this song at some point in time. But this one goes out to all y'all. I greatly appreciate it. This is what we call rock and soul. This song's called Broken Denver. Broken Denver, Lord, I'm so far from home. So broke that I can't even roam. How does this happen, Lord? I made money last night. I'm gonna be here longer, they delayed my flight. Well, I'm broken Denver. Got paid and went and bought a bottle of booze. Couldn't take it home, my card, it wouldn't go through. Negative 1 cent, ain't gonna pay my rent. With a little faith, I be heaven sent. Well, I'm broken Denver. Yes, I'm broken Denver. At a bar and I can't even pay my tab. Gotta be lucky that I got a little bit of cash. All this money is all up in my pocket. Give me more faith, I'll fly like a rocket. Well, I'm broken Denver. Yes, I'm broken Denver. Well, I'm here we go. City by the bay, Lord, it's calling my name. Broken Denver and Lord, it's a damn shame. Well, I'm broken Denver. Yes, I'm broken Denver. Well, I'm yes, I'm yes, I'm well, I'm get it, Dave. Well, I'm yes, I'm thank you. I'm gonna give myself a little room here. I feel a little cramped, which is silly because I only got one more song. So I wrote this this next song in 2018. As Bo mentioned, I've had the absolute pleasure of getting to work with the Allegro Dance Project for its entire run. I remember when Gina was working at Dillard's, and it was a dream. And now we serve, what is it, like 5,000 kids?
1,500.
1,500
Let's
kids and adults with specific needs in this community in Central Kentucky. So anyway, we do shows every year, and in 2018 I wrote this song and suggested it, and for the show we were doing at the time it was a little too heavy, so I held on to it. And I want you to know that I wrote this song in 2018 because I wrote this song before I heard the names Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and many, because this continues to happen all the time. And if you don't know the name Tony Sullivan and you live in Lexington, Kentucky, I encourage you to Google his name. So this song is for everyone who never made it home. And, you know, I know that times are tough, and I don't know how to navigate this, but I know that we can navigate this together. So this song's called Say Their Names. Don't you know it's hard out here, trying to make it through this life? Don't you know it's hard out here, trying to make it through this fight? Ain't nothing wrong when you hurt yourself. They try to tear you down. Don't you know it's hard out here? We gotta stand our ground. Begin to wonder, has it always been this hard? How many names to be crossed for the rest of us have scars? Arms around my neck and I can't breathe. 3 bullets in the chest and they dead in the street. Don't you know it's hard out here trying to make it through this life? Don't you know it's hard out here trying to make it through this fight? Ain't nothing wrong when you hurt yourself. They try to tear you down. Don't you know it's hard out here? We gotta stand our ground. So many faces and names that we don't know, trying to get it trending. Do they care or is it for show? Killed at a traffic stop or by a stranger at your door. Not enough, somebody's dead, they gotta kill their character too, yeah. Don't you know it's hard out here trying to make it through this life? Don't you know it's hard out here trying to make it in the fight? Ain't nothing wrong when you hurt yourself. They try to tear you down. Don't you know it's hard out here? We gotta stand our ground. Blood is flowing and the tears rolling down their necks, trying to make sure somebody that they don't know ain't there. Begin to wonder, has it always been this hard? Yeah, that's what they say. We gotta push far. Don't you know it's hard out here trying to make it through this line? Don't you know it's hard out here trying to make it through this fight? Ain't nothing wrong when you hurt yourself. They try to tear you down. Don't you know it's hard out here? We gotta stand our ground. How many more bodies?
Say the name.
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 How many more bodies?
Say the How many more bodies? Say the name. How many more bodies? Say the name. Don't you know it's hard out here trying to make it through this line? Don't you know it's hard out here trying to make it through this fight? Ain't nothing wrong when you hurt yourself. They try to tear you down. Don't you know it's hard out here? We gotta stand our ground.
Thank you. Thomas Usher on the bass, Dave Ferris on drums. My name is DeBron Thomas. Thank you so much. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
For those wanting to become more involved in Lexington's dynamic literary scene or to continue to celebrate Lexington's 250th anniversary or sesquicentennial, there are numerous events coming up throughout the spring, included In Conversation with Nikki Finney, tomorrow evening at the Northside Library, and the Carnegie Center's 250 Lex Special Edition Kentucky Great Writers Reading on April 15th, which will feature some of the writers you've heard from tonight: Silas House, George Ella Lyon, Frank X. Walker, and Jeff Worley, as well as Crystal Wilkinson and Richard Taylor, all Poets Laureate of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. More information can be found on tonight's printed program and can be found at carnegiecenter.org and 250lex.com. In the meantime, we hope you'll find your own way of supporting our local authors, publishers, bookstores, libraries, and learners of all ages. That support might be in the form of a donation to a favorite organization, the purchase of an exciting new book, attending a play or reading, or even trying your own hand at a story or poem. No matter how you do it, we appreciate you too as a vital part of our thriving community of words and wonder. Katarina Stoikova is the author, yes? Is the author of Between a Birdcage and a Birdhouse and The Poet's Guide to Publishing: How to Conceive, Arrange, Edit, Publish, and Market a Book of Poetry. Katarina is the founder and senior editor of Accents Publishing, as well as the creator, Accents Publishing, as well as the creator of the Accents podcast on WUKY. She has served as a director of the Kentucky Book Festival, as well as the director of the Center for the Book in Kentucky, and is the 2025-2026 president of the Kentucky State Poetry Society. Please welcome Katarina Stoikova.
Hi everyone. I'm so grateful to be invited to read with these esteemed authors and performers. I'm so grateful to have landed in this wonderful city. It has given me so much. I have selected 2.5 poems for you. I wanted to read something tied to this wonderful city, and I actually found a poem that is anchored here. Just to let you know, there are several words in a foreign language in it, but I think it should make sense. To the foreign woman who called her daughter Skutina for untying her shoes in the post office, Beaumont Branch, Lexington, Kentucky, April 18th, 2013. Somebody always listens. Somebody always understands, sees, feels what you say. I wouldn't want to be her, your little girl with pink sneakers staring numbly into the floor. I wouldn't want to be you, a beacon of bile, arms crossed over the chest that helped you emigrate. Life appears to not be what he promised. The beauty you traded in for comfort half vanished, the comfort itself now taken for granted. Nor your meek American husband resigned to this upgrade to loneliness 1.1, your strange meals, barbed glances, loaded silences, submitted to living in fear of having a different opinion. Neither the elderly female relative with her back to all of us, pretending to be engrossed in the merchandise of padded envelopes and comical postcards. The girl walks up to her and looks at cats with large eyes, dancing groundhogs, thank you notes for the fact that nobody here speaks foreign languages. Little girl, before it gets better, I'm sorry to say, it will get worse. If I could, I would tell her, "Apomnitis," but she scares me too. For what is worth, one day she will want to erase what she just said and instead kneel down to help and continue to teach you, for she'll know nothing matters more than her only daughter being able to walk well. Until then, it's okay to cry for the losses and accept the love. Любимая is what your mother should have said to you. I would tell her that I know. I know. I would tell her, I'm so sorry. I know. Thank you. Then I wanted to read to you a poem that mentions both the places I consider my own, that I consider my home. Burgas is the city in Bulgaria on the Black Sea coast, and I was born and raised there. And Kentucky is home, of course, and this poem is written after a famous poem by Cesar Vallejo. Black stone over white stone. I will die in Burgas under the pouring rain that falls once a year or two whenever I can visit. I will die on the 8th floor balcony at sunrise as the sky tugs the sun's soul out of the Black Sea shimmer. It will be a Friday as it is today, because as I write these lines, I notice how the work week ends and how I crawl into another pile, unfinished business. Katerina died during her visit. Whoever is returning to Kentucky, isn't she, believe me, determined to remain unnoticed? This person mirrors her disappearing foreign bones completely. The only witnesses remain the balcony, the rain, the constant resurrections. Thank you. And the third poem is a short one, and it felt right to read right now at this time to you on this occasion. Be in this world, but not of it. You've already achieved that feat, having been an immigrant for 30 years. And in the worlds you weave between, we all have shifted lanes to settle into hospitable layers and swim alongside the ones whom we resemble, the kindred spirits. The kindred spirits, the kindred spirits, in every world they make life bearable. Thank you.
Before we conclude our evening with our final performance, we would like to thank you for taking the time to join us in celebrating Lexington's rich talent and literary tradition, and some of the voices that are leading us into our next exciting 250 years as a vibrant literary community. We would also like to thank again Mayor Linda Gorton for her enduring support of the literary arts in Lexington. As well as Heather Lyons, Director of Arts and Cultural Affairs for the City of Lexington. We appreciate the contributions of Dr. Eunice Beatty and Kip Cornett, co-chairs of the 250 Lex Commission. Without all of these contributions, this event would not have been possible. And now, please welcome again to the stage our final artists of the evening, Tony Wavy with Raiden Paris, Marcia Gill, Maya McCutcheon, George Shanks, and Keenan Helms.
Hey y'all, we back. Y'all enjoyed the show? So we here to close it out, but before then, I just want to introduce, I don't know if we came up with a name for real, but I'm gonna introduce all of the artists that's with me. Raiden Paris by my side.
How y'all doing?
Mad Wavy.
Yes, sir.
Martia Gill, make some noise for Martia. Maya McCutcheon on the violin. Y'all know we got George Shanks on the drums.
Yes, sir.
And Keenan Helms on the keys. Tony and the Waves, that's what they said. All right.
The Wave.
I hope y'all enjoy this. Shout out to Bo. Shout out to Heather. Shout out to all the beautiful people. And yeah. Pig. Yeah. I said go Pig Blue. I said go Pig Blue. I said go Pig Blue.
Yeah.
It's a letter to Lexington, message from me to you. Ain't the city that raised me, but this the city that made me. Feel like Robert Patey or Carl Anthony Town. When it come to reppin' Kentucky, you know I'm Churchill down. From the East End to the West End, homie, take a look around. Gorgeous people in the town, Bryan Station and Henry Clay. People that made a way where it could snow just any day. Horses on display and all the parks to go and play. Jacobson down the loud and my folks in the public housing. Small cityscapes and all the sirens that be sounding. Love you see around them, we got faith that's moving mountains. Murals up a Malcolm, murals up a Lincoln. Big city, small town, place bit on distinction. You know we got the drinking, here's to the brews. Cheers me to you. Dirt bowl and church clothes, kids chill at the school. Lexington, the blessing and choose from me to you. We all be wearing blue. I said go big blue. I said go big blue. I said go big blue. This a letter to lessons, a message from me to you. I said go big blue. Sing it with me. I said go big blue. I said go big blue. This a letter to Lexington, a message from me to you.
Okay, big blue building home, a true feeling wrote the new book of hope. I'm still penning note, the future golden blow right through ceilings. Hope a few doors for folks go keep winning hope. Then I'ma sit. Now in these Lexington days, I had to find my way. I was out in Bryan Station trying to defend my claim. Had to find my patience, I wear the horses graze. So let me spit some game. Little message from a KY kid. Love the day rides that turn into the late night kid. I used to skate right through campus on a day like this. So I'ma raise a blue banner for the place I live in. And the bourbon's not imported, coming in full force. We ball and raise horses, hopping on any track. I went R.J. Corman, plenty of wildcats. They stack the base loaded, legends on the map for crack, the place roaring.
What you think you know about my city is full of misconception. They think we all country, but time is of the essence. I never rode a horse, for money they a blessing. East End, baby, my city taught me lessons. Kentucky is my home, and that ain't no question. This is a letter from me to you.
I said go big blue.
From me to you.
I said go big blue.
From me to you.
I said go big blue.
From me to you.
It's a letter to Lexington, message from me to you. I said go big blue.
From me to you.
I said go big blue.
From me to you.
I said go big blue.
From me to you.
It's a letter to Lexington, message from me to you. I never thought I'd make it in a place like this. Never thought I'd make it in a place like this. Never thought I'd make it in a place like this. Never thought I'd make it in a place like this. So this right here, this is when I need y'all to sing it back with me. Cause this is for Lexington, this is for me, this is from you, to you, Lexington. You ready?
I'm ready. You ready?
I said go big blue. I said go big blue.
Go big blue.
I said go big blue.
Go big blue.
This a letter to Lexington, message from me to you. Thank you, Lexington. Thank you, Kentucky Theater. We hope you enjoyed this night. Bless.
Happy 250, y'all. Thank you.
Shout out to the band. Hold up, we got bow. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready to bow? Turn around, turn around.
Make some noise, y'all. Make some noise.
Go Big Blue. We're going to try, what's that? We'll see you after. We're going to try really hard not to wait another 250 years before we do this again. Would you please join me in another round of applause for all the writers, artists, dancers, actors, designers, technicians, and behind the scenes movers and shakers who crafted this event over the last many weeks and months. Thank you so much for being with us tonight and for your support of the literary arts here in Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you and good night.